Captain Jake Morrison stared at the strange object floating in front of his ship. It was huge and made of what looked like blue crystal. The thing was at least 10 times bigger than his own vessel, the UES Liberty. Jake had been exploring space for 12 years, but he had never seen anything like this. "Captain, we're getting signals from that ship," said Communications Officer Beth Williams. Her voice sounded nervous. "It's not like any language I've heard before." Jake looked around the bridge of his ship. His crew was small but good at their jobs. There was Dr. Lisa Carter, who studied alien life forms. Engineer Ryan Brooks kept their ship running. Navigator Sam Johnson plotted their course through space. They were all looking at him now, waiting for orders. "Can you make any sense of the signals?" Jake asked Beth. "I'm trying, sir. The computer is working on it. Wait, I think I'm getting something now." The main screen flickered. Suddenly a face appeared. It was not human. The being had pale blue skin and large black eyes. Its head was longer than a human head, and it had no hair. When it spoke, its voice was cold and sharp. "Primitive creatures," the alien said. "You will stop your vessel and prepare to be boarded." Jake felt his heart beat faster. This was first contact with an alien race. He had trained for this moment, but it was still scary. "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earthship Liberty. We come in peace." The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "Peace? You know nothing of peace? You are children playing with dangerous toys. I am Admiral Vextel of the Zephian Empire. We have ruled this galaxy for 3,000 years. Dr. Lisa Carter stepped forward. She was the expert on alien life, and Jake trusted her judgment. "Admiral, we mean no harm. We are explorers. We want to learn about other races and share knowledge." "Share knowledge?" Admiral Vextel's voice became even colder. "What could a species that has barely learned to travel between stars teach us? We have mastered science while your kind was still living in caves?" Jake tried to stay calm. "We may be new to space travel, but we've learned a lot in a short time. Perhaps we can help each other." The alien's image became clearer on the screen. Jake could see that Admiral Vextel was wearing some kind of uniform made of the same blue crystal as his ship. Behind him, other aliens moved around what looked like a very advanced control room. "Help us?" The Admiral's voice was full of scorn. "You cannot even build a proper starship. Your vessel is held together with metal welding and primitive computers. It is a wonder you have not killed yourselves." Engineer Ryan Brooks spoke up. "Our ship may look simple, but it works. We've traveled farther from Earth than any humans before us." "Silence," Admiral Vextel commanded. "You will not speak unless I give you permission." "This is exactly what I mean. You have no respect for proper order." Jake felt anger rising in his chest, but he kept his voice steady. "We respect order, Admiral. But we also respect the rights of all thinking beings. Every member of my crew has the right to speak." The alien shook his head. "This is why you need to be taught. You do not understand how a civilized galaxy works. There are rules. There are those who command and those who obey. You humans think you can ignore these rules. What do you want from us?" Jake asked. "We want to educate you," Admiral Vextel replied. "The galaxy is a dangerous place for species that do not know their place. We have seen many young races destroy themselves because they reached too far too fast. We will teach you before you make the same mistakes." Dr. Lisa Carter looked worried. "What kind of education are you talking about?" "You will face challenges," the Admiral said. "Tests that will show you the limits of your abilities. When you fail, you will understand why you must accept our guidance." Jake didn't like the sound of this. "And if we refuse?" "Refusal is not an option," Admiral Vextel said simply. "You are in our space now. You will follow our rules, or you will be destroyed." The bridge was quiet for a moment. Jake looked at his crew. They were afraid, but they were also angry. Humans didn't like being told what to do by bullies, even if those bullies had better ships and weapons. "What's the first challenge?" Jake asked. "Intelligence," the Admiral replied. "We will give you a mathematical problem that has puzzled lesser races for centuries. If you can solve it, you may proceed to the next test. If you cannot, you will return to your little solar system and never leave it again. How long do we have? Dr. Lisa Carter asked. 1 of your weeks, Admiral Vexthal said. That should be more than enough time to prove your limitations. The screen went dark. The alien ship moved closer to the Liberty, but it didn't attack. Jake knew they were being watched. Well, that was friendly, said Navigator Sam Johnson. Ryan, can you tell how powerful their weapons are? Jake asked. God engineer Ryan Brooks checked his instruments. Their ship is definitely more advanced than ours, Captain. Their energy output is about 50 times what we can produce. If they wanted to destroy us, they could do it easily. So we play their game, Jake said. For now, Lisa, what do you think? About this, Admiral Vexthal? Dr. Lisa Carter thought for a moment. He seems very sure of himself. Too sure, maybe. He talks about humans like we're insects or small children. That could be a mistake. How so? He's not really looking at us, she said. He's looking at what he expects to see. That could give us an advantage. What do you mean? He thinks we're primitive and stupid. He's not considering that we might have different ways of thinking. Sometimes a fresh perspective can solve problems that experts can't, Jake nodded. That's what I was thinking too. Beth, send a message to Earth. Tell them what's happening here. If this goes badly, they need to know about the Zephyrians. Yes, sir. A few hours later, Admiral Vexthal's ship sent over the mathematical problem. It appeared on their main screen as a series of symbols and equations. Jake looked at it and felt confused. The math was far beyond anything he had learned in school. Can anyone make sense of this? He asked. Dr. Lisa Carter studied the problem. It's some kind of theorem about space and time. The symbols are different from our math, but I think I can figure out what they mean. How long will it take? I don't know, Captain. Maybe the whole week, maybe longer. But engineer Ryan Brooks was already working on his computer. Wait, he said. I think I see something. This problem is about finding the most efficient path through folded space, right? That's what it looks like, Dr. Lisa Carter agreed. Well, we don't use folded space for our ships, Ryan said. We use something different, but the principle might be the same. Jake watched as Ryan worked. The engineer was young, but he was also very smart. He had designed many of the systems on the Liberty himself. I think the Zephyrians are making this too complicated, Ryan said after a while. They're trying to use advanced math to solve a problem that might have a simple answer. What do you mean? Well, if you want to find the shortest path from one point to another, you draw a straight line. But if space is folded, a straight line in normal space might not be the shortest path in folded space. The Zephyrians are trying to calculate the perfect path using all kinds of complex equations. And you have a different idea? What if we don't worry about the perfect path? What if we just find a good enough path that's easy to calculate? Dr. Lisa Carter looked interested. That's very human thinking, Ryan. We often solve problems by finding good enough solutions instead of perfect ones. Ryan worked for 3 days. He didn't try to solve the problem the way the Zephyrians expected. Instead, he used human approaches to engineering. He made approximations. He used trial and error. He found shortcuts. On the 4th day, he had an answer. Captain, he said, I think I've got it. Jake looked at the solution. It was much simpler than he had expected. Are you sure this is right? I've checked it 5 times, Ryan said. It works. It's not the most elegant solution, but it's correct. They sent the answer to Admiral Vexthal. An hour later, the alien's face appeared on their screen again. He looked surprised and angry. This is impossible, he said. You cannot have solved the theorem of Vashtal in only 4 days. Our best mathematicians took months to find the solution. But we did solve it, Jake replied. Our engineer found a different approach? Different approach. The Admiral's voice was sharp. There is only one correct approach to mathematics. Maybe, Jake said. But there might be more than one way to find the answer. Admiral Vexthal was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. You were lucky. The next challenge will not be so easy. You will face the test of cultural worth. You must prove that your species has created something of value to the galaxy. What kind of something? Dr. Lisa Carter asked. Art, the Admiral said. Music, literature, visual beauty. Something that shows you are more than just clever animals. The screen went dark again. Jake looked at his crew. They had passed the first test, but the Admiral was right about one thing. The next challenge would be harder? Any ideas? Jake asked. Actually, yes, said Dr. Lisa Carter. I think I know exactly what to show them. Dr. Lisa Carter walked to the ship's music room. It was a small space where the crew relaxed during long trips through space. There was an old piano that had been her grandmother's and some recording equipment. Lisa had an idea, but she wasn't sure it would work. What are you thinking? Captain Jake Morrison asked as he followed her. Music is universal, Lisa said. Every intelligent species we've studied has some form of music. But each species hears it differently. I think the Zephyrians expect us to copy their style or show them something they already know. So we don't do that? Exactly. We show them something completely human. Lisa sat at the piano and began to play. It was a simple melody her grandmother had taught her years ago. Jake recognized it as an old folk song from Earth. It was pretty, but nothing special. That's nice, Jake said. But is it enough to impress aliens who have ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years? Lisa smiled. This is just the beginning. Beth, can you help me with the recording equipment? Communications Officer Beth Williams came to the music room. What do you need? I want to record everyone on the ship, Lisa said. Not just their voices. I want to record their heartbeats, their breathing, even the sounds they make when they work. Why? Beth asked. Because that's what makes us human, Lisa explained. Our music isn't just about perfect notes and technical skill. It's about life and emotion and the way we connect with each other. For the next 2 days, Lisa worked with Beth to record everyone on the ship. She recorded engineer Ryan Brooks humming while he fixed machinery. She recorded navigator Sam Johnson tapping his fingers while he calculated their course. She recorded the quiet breathing of the crew during sleep shifts. Then Lisa began to compose. She took all the human sounds and wove them together with the piano melody. But she didn't stop there. She also recorded the sounds of the ship itself. The hum of the engines, the whisper of air through the ventilation systems, the gentle beeping of computers. This is our symphony, Lisa told Jake as she worked. It's not just music. It's the sound of humans living and working together in space. On the third day, Lisa added something else to her composition. She had been studying the signals from the Zephyrian ship, and she noticed that their communications had a musical quality. The aliens spoke in tones that created harmonies. I'm going to include their voices too, Lisa said. Is that allowed? Jake asked. They didn't say we couldn't, and I think it will make a point. Lisa carefully wove the alien voices into her symphony. She didn't use their words, just the musical tones of their speech. The result was strange and beautiful. The human and alien sounds blended together in ways that neither species had imagined. When the symphony was finished, Lisa played it for the crew. Everyone was quiet as they listened. The music started with the simple piano melody, but it grew into something much larger. They could hear themselves in the music, but also something greater than themselves. It's us, Beth Williams said softly. But it's also the ship and space and even the aliens? That's the point, Lisa said. Music isn't just about one species or one culture. It's about connection. It's about finding harmony between different things. They sent the symphony to Admiral Vexthal. Jake waited nervously for the alien's response. An hour passed, then 2 hours. Finally, the Admiral's face appeared on their screen. What is this? Admiral Vexthal asked. His voice sounded confused. It's a symphony, Jake replied. Dr. Carter composed it to represent humanity's contribution to galactic culture. This is not music, the Admiral said. Music requires discipline and training. This is just noise arranged in patterns. Dr. Lisa Carter stepped forward. With respect, Admiral, I think you're missing the point. Your definition of music is based on your culture. Our music comes from our hearts and our experiences. Hearts? The Admiral sounded scornful. Music is mathematics. It follows rules and structures that have been proven over thousands of years. But why can't it be both? Lisa asked. Why can't music be mathematical and emotional at the same time? Admiral Vexthal was quiet for a moment. Jake could see other Zephyrians moving behind him on the screen. Some of them seemed to be listening to the human symphony. Your composition lacks proper form, the Admiral finally said. It does not follow any recognized musical theory. That's because we created a new form, Lisa replied. We combined the sounds of living beings with the sounds of technology and the sounds of space itself. We included your voices too, to show that different species can create harmony together. You included our voices without permission, the Admiral said angrily. We used only the musical tones of your speech, Lisa explained. No words, no meaning. Except the beauty of the sounds themselves. We meant it as a gift. Jake watched the alien's face carefully. Admiral Vexthal seemed upset, but also confused. Behind him, other Zephyrians were talking quietly among themselves. This is unacceptable, the Admiral finally said. You have violated our vocal privacy. I'm sorry if we offended you, Jake said. That wasn't our intention. We were trying to show that humans value cooperation and harmony between different species. Cooperation, Admiral Vexthal's voice was sharp. You take without asking and call it cooperation? Dr. Lisa Carter looked upset. We really didn't mean any harm. In human culture, building on the work of others is how we show respect. We were honoring your voices by including them in our art. Your culture is primitive, the Admiral said. You do not understand the concept of intellectual property. Jake felt angry, but he tried to stay calm. Maybe our cultures are different, but doesn't that make the universe more interesting? If everyone thought the same way, we would never create anything new. New is not always better, Admiral Vexthal replied. The old ways have been tested by time. They work. But if no one ever tries new things, how do you grow? Beth Williams asked. How do you learn? The Admiral looked at her with cold eyes. Communications officers do not speak without permission on Zephyrian ships. Well, this isn't a Zephyrian ship, Jake said firmly. On human ships, everyone has the right to speak their mind. This is exactly your problem, Admiral Vexthal said. You have no discipline, no proper order, your ship is chaos. Engineer Ryan Brooks stepped forward. Our ship works fine, sir. Maybe chaos isn't always bad? Sometimes the best solutions come from unexpected places. Silence, the Admiral commanded. You will face the third challenge. This will be the test that finally shows you your limitations. The screen changed to show a complex diagram. It looked like a star map, but much more complicated. There were hundreds of colored lines connecting different points and numbers and symbols everywhere. This is the crucible of worlds, Admiral. Vexthal explained. It is a test of leadership and strategic thinking. You must manage 50 different star systems simultaneously. Each system has unique problems and needs. You must allocate resources, prevent wars, and maintain order across this entire region of space. Jake stared at the diagram. It was overwhelming. How long do we have? 1 week, the Admiral said. The same time we gave you for each previous challenge. But this test is different. This is not about solving one problem or creating one piece of art. This is about proving you can lead. What happens if we fail? Jake asked. You will understand that humans are not ready for leadership roles in the galaxy, Admiral Vexthal replied. You will accept our guidance and return to your small corner of space. And if we succeed? The Admiral's expression became even colder. You will not succeed. No species has ever managed more than half the systems effectively. Even we Zephyrians, with all our experience, struggle with this test. After the alien ship ended communication, Jake gathered his crew in the main meeting room. They all looked at the complex star map on the big screen. This is impossible, Navigator Sam Johnson said. 50 star systems? We can barely manage our own ship sometimes. Maybe that's the point, Dr. Lisa Carter said thoughtfully. Maybe they don't expect anyone to succeed. Maybe they just want to watch us fail. Well, we're not going to fail, Jake said firmly. We're going to approach this the same way we approach the other challenges. We're going to think like humans. What does that mean? Beth Williams asked. It means we don't do things the way they expect, Ryan Brooks said. We find our own solutions. Jake nodded. Exactly. They've been thinking about this problem for thousands of years. They probably have standard ways of approaching it. But we're new. We can see things they might miss. Where do we start? Sam Johnson asked. Jake looked at the star map again. It was still overwhelming, but he was beginning to see patterns. We start by not trying to do everything at once. Let's break this down into smaller pieces. The Zephyrians probably try to control everything from the center, Dr. Lisa Carter said. That's how their society works. Everything flows from the top down. But what if we don't control everything? Jake asked. What if we help each system solve its own problems? You mean like delegation? Beth Williams asked. More than that, Jake said. What if we teach each system to work with its neighbors? What if instead of managing 50 separate systems, we help them become one big cooperative network? Ryan Brooks looked excited. That could work. Instead of being the boss of everyone, we become the helper. We solve the problems that connect the systems together. The Zephyrians probably never thought. Captain Jake Morrison stood in front of the huge star map. 50 different star systems glowed on the screen, each one with its own problems. Some systems were at war with their neighbors. Others were running out of food or water. A few had diseases spreading through their populations. This is crazy, Navigator Sam Johnson said. Look at System 12. They're fighting System 13 over mining rights. But System 15 has the same minerals and nobody wants them. And System 23 is starving while System 24 has too much food, Communications Officer Beth Williams added. It makes no sense. Dr. Lisa Carter studied the information carefully. I think that's exactly the point. The Zephyrians want to see if we can manage chaos. They probably expect us to try to control everything with force. But we're not going to do that, Jake said. We're going to try something different. Engineer. Ryan Brooks was already working on his computer. Captain, I've been looking at the trade routes between these systems. Most of them don't talk to each other at all. They only communicate with the central authority. The Zephyrians? Jake asked. Right. Every system reports to the Empire, but they don't work together. It's like they're all separate islands. Jake thought about this. On Earth, human societies worked best when people could trade and communicate freely. When governments tried to control everything, problems usually got worse. What if we change that? Jake said. What if we help these systems talk to each other directly? The Zephyrians might not like that, Beth Williams said. They seem to want everything to go through them? Well, they're not here right now, Jake replied. We are. And our job is to solve these problems in 1 week. They started with the easiest connections. System 12 and 13 were fighting over mining rights, but System 15 had the same minerals and needed trading partners. Jake sent a message to all three systems. This is Captain Morrison of the UES Liberty, he said in his message. We're here to help solve problems. System 15, would you be willing to trade your minerals for manufactured goods? System 12 and 13, would you be willing to stop fighting and become customers instead of enemies? The response was immediate. All three systems wanted to know who gave the humans authority to make such suggestions. We don't have authority, Jake replied honestly. We're just trying to help neighbors work together. Within hours, representatives from all three systems were talking to each other. They discovered that the war had started because both systems needed the minerals, but neither had thought to look for other suppliers. System 15 was happy to trade and everyone got what they needed. 1 down, 49 to go, Ryan Brooks said, but the success made Jake think. Maybe they didn't need to solve 49 separate problems. Maybe they could solve a few big problems that affected many systems. Beth, can you set up a communication network between all 50 systems? Jake asked. I can try, Beth said. But it will take time. Do it. And Lisa, I want you to study the cultural information about each system. Find out what they value, what they fear, what they need. What are you planning, Captain? Dr. Lisa Carter asked. I'm planning to let them solve their own problems, Jake said. We'll just help them talk to each other. While Beth worked on the communication network, Jake started sending messages to system leaders. He didn't give orders or make demands. Instead, he asked questions. What do you need most? He asked, what do you have too much of? Who are your neighbors? What do you know about their problems? The answers were surprising. Many systems had resources that other systems desperately needed. Some had knowledge that could help their neighbors. A few had technologies that could solve problems across multiple systems, but they had never shared this information because the Zephyrian system didn't encourage cooperation between subject worlds. Look at this, Lisa said, pointing to her screen. System 31 has developed a cure for the disease that's spreading through systems 28, 29, and 30. But they've never shared it because they were told to report only to the central authority. And System 47 has a new farming technique that could feed the hungry populations in 6 different systems, Sam Johnson added. But they're keeping it secret because they're afraid other systems will steal it. Jake felt excitement growing. What if we guarantee fair trade? What if we promise that anyone who shares knowledge or resources will get something valuable in return? How can we guarantee that? Beth asked. We're just one small ship. We can't guarantee it, Jake said. But we can help them guarantee it to each other. Jake's plan was simple but radical. Instead of trying to control the 50 systems, he would help them create their own network of cooperation. Each system would remain independent, but they would work together to solve common problems. He started by connecting systems that had complementary needs. The hungry systems talked to the systems with extra food. The sick systems talked to the systems with medical knowledge. The poor systems talked to the systems with resources to share, but Jake also did something the Zephyrians would never have done. He encouraged the systems to form their own agreements. He didn't dictate terms or impose solutions. He just facilitated conversations. System 17, meet System 21, Jake would say. You both have the same problem with space pirates. Maybe you can work together to solve it. System 9, this is System 36. You have extra energy, they need power for their factories. Maybe you can work out a trade. The communication network Beth had created became busy with messages between systems. For the first time in centuries, the subject worlds of the Zephyrian Empire were talking to each other directly. The results were amazing. Trade agreements formed. Within days, military alliances developed between systems that had been enemies. Cultural exchanges began as different species learned about each other. Captain, Lisa said on the 5th day, I'm seeing something incredible. These systems are starting to solve problems we didn't even know existed. What do you mean? Well, System 42 was having trouble with their young people leaving for other worlds, but System 18 needs workers. So they set up an exchange program. Young people from 42 can work in 18 for a few years, learn new skills, and then return home to help their own system. That's brilliant, Jake said, and we didn't even suggest it. That's exactly the point, Lisa replied. They're thinking of solutions we never would have considered. On the 6th day, something unexpected happened. The 50 system sent a joint message to the UES Liberty. Captain Morrison, the message said, we want to thank you for helping us discover each other. We have formed a cooperative council to continue working together after your mission ends. We also want to ask you something. What do they want? Jake asked Beth. They want to know if Earth would be interested in joining their cooperative council as an equal partner. Jake was stunned. Equal partner? But we're just one small system. Read the rest of the message, Beth said. Smiling, Jake read aloud. We have learned that true strength comes not from controlling others, but from helping them succeed. You have shown us how to work together instead of competing. We believe humans have wisdom that the galaxy needs. That evening, Admiral Vexel's face appeared on their screen. He looked confused and angry. "What have you done?" the Admiral demanded. "We solved the problems in the 50 systems," Jake replied calmly. "You have violated the test parameters," Admiral Vexel said. "You were supposed to manage the systems, not encourage them to form independent alliances. The test was to maintain order and prevent wars," Jake replied. "We did that. Every system is now peaceful and prosperous." "But they are no longer properly subordinate to central authority," the Admiral said. "They are acting independently." "Is that bad?" Dr. Lisa Carter asked. "They're happy. They're working together. No one is fighting. It is not the Zephyrian way," Admiral Vexel said firmly. "Maybe the Zephyrian way isn't the only way," Jake suggested. The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. Behind him, other Zephyrians were looking at data screens and talking among themselves. "You have passed the test," Admiral Vexel finally said. "But you have done so in a way that challenges our fundamental understanding of leadership." "Good," Jake said. "Maybe it's time for a new understanding." "There is one more test," the Admiral continued. "This will be the final challenge. If you pass this test, we will acknowledge that humans have proven their worth. If you fail, you will accept our guidance forever." "What's the test?" Jake asked. Admiral Vexel's expression became grim. "We will present you with a scenario that has no solution. A situation where leadership must choose who lives and who dies. This is the test that breaks most species. And if we find a solution—" "Anyway, you will not," the Admiral said confidently. "This test has been attempted by dozens of species over thousands of years. No one has ever saved more than 1/3 of the lives at stake." Jake looked at his crew. They had surprised the aliens 3 times now. Maybe they could do it again. "When do we start?" Jake asked. "Tomorrow," Admiral Vexel replied. "Prepare yourselves for failure. This test will show you that some problems cannot be solved by cooperation and creativity. Sometimes leaders must make terrible choices." The screen went dark. Jake turned to his crew. "Well, team," he said, "looks like we have one more challenge." The next morning, Admiral Vexel's image appeared on the main screen of the UES Liberty. Behind him, Captain Jake Morrison could see other Zephyrians working at control stations. They all looked serious and grim. "This is your final test," the Admiral announced. "We call it the test of impossible choices. You will face a situation where millions of lives hang in the balance, and there is no way to save them all." A new star map appeared on the screen. It showed a solar system with 12 planets and several space stations. At the center was a red giant star that was pulsing with dangerous energy. "This star system is dying," Admiral Vexel explained. "The star has become unstable and will explode in 7 days. When it explodes, it will destroy everything within 50 light years." Jake studied the map carefully. "How many people live in the system?" 47 million beings from 12 different species, the Admiral replied. "They have been at war with each other for over a century. They refuse to cooperate even to save their own lives." Communications Officer Beth Williams looked worried. "What kind of transportation do they have?" "Very limited," the Admiral said. "Their ships are old and slow. Their wars have destroyed most of their fleet. The remaining ships can carry perhaps 15 million people if used efficiently. So 32 million will die," Navigator Sam Johnson said quietly. "That is correct," Admiral Vexel confirmed. "Your task is to organize the evacuation and choose who lives and who dies. This is the burden of true leadership. This is why lesser species must accept the guidance of their superiors." Dr. Lisa Carter stepped forward. "What have other species done when faced with this test?" "The best result was achieved by the Corthony Republic," the Admiral replied. "They saved 34% of the population by implementing strict priority protocols. The elderly and sick were left behind to make room for the young and healthy." "That's horrible," Beth Williams said. "That is reality," Admiral Vexel said coldly. Leadership requires making difficult decisions. Emotional responses only make things worse. Jake felt sick thinking about it. 32 million people would die, and he was supposed to choose which ones. But then he remembered something Dr. Lisa Carter had said earlier. The Zephyrians always thought inside their own limitations. What if we don't accept that 32 million have to die? Jake asked. You cannot change mathematics, the Admiral replied. There are not enough ships. But what if we could get more ships? Engineer Ryan Brooks suggested. From where? The Admiral asked. The nearest systems with adequate fleets are too far away. Even at maximum speed, they could not arrive in time. Jake looked at his crew. They had solved every other challenge by thinking differently. Maybe they could do it again. Can we see detailed information about the 12 planets? Jake asked. The star map zoomed in to show each world. Jake could see cities, factories, shipyards, and military bases. Most of the infrastructure was damaged from the ongoing wars, but some facilities were still operating. Ryan, look at this, Jake said, pointing to one of the planets. They have shipyards. Are they still functional? Ryan studied the data. Some of them are. But Captain, building new ships takes months or years. What about converting existing ships? Jake asked. Cargo ships, military vessels, even small personal craft. Could we modify them to carry more people? Maybe, Ryan said slowly. If we stripped out everything except life support and passenger space. The warring factions will never cooperate, Admiral Vexthal said. They hate each other too much. They might cooperate if they understand the alternative is everyone dying. Dr. Lisa Carter suggested. Previous commanders have tried that approach, the Admiral replied. It always fails. Fear makes people more selfish, not less. Jake thought about the 50 star systems they had just helped. Those worlds had been suspicious of each other too, but they had learned to work together when they saw the benefits. Beth, can you establish communication with all 12 planets simultaneously? Jake asked. I think so, Beth replied. But they might not want to listen. We'll make them listen, Jake said firmly. Jake spent the next hour preparing what he was going to say. He knew he would only get one chance to convince 12 different species to stop fighting and work together when the communication channel opened. Jake could see representatives from all 12 worlds on his screen. They looked angry and suspicious. Several were shouting at each other in different languages. Listen to me, Jake said loudly. You can keep fighting each other, or you can live. But you cannot do both. The shouting stopped. All 12 representatives turned to look at him. I am Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earthship Liberty, Jake continued. I am here to help you survive, but I need your help to do it. Why? Should we trust you? Asked a reptilian being from the third planet. You are not even from this system. Because I don't have any reason to lie to you, Jake replied. In 7 days your star will explode. If you keep fighting, you will all die together. If you work together, you might all live. Impossible, said an insect-like creature from the 7th planet. There are not enough ships. There are if we build them, Jake said. You have shipyards, you have materials, you have workers. What you don't have is time to waste on fighting. Our shipyards were bombed by the war, protested a humanoid from the 5th planet. Some of them were, Ryan Brooks said, stepping into view. But not all. Planet 4 has 3 operational shipyards. Planet 9 has 2. Planet 11 has facilities that could be repaired in 2 days. Even if we could build ships, we would never agree on who gets to use them, said the representative from Planet 6. Then don't decide, Jake suggested. Build enough ships for everyone. In 7 days? Several representatives laughed. Impossible. Not if you work together, Doctor. Lisa Carter said. Planet 3 has the best engineers. Planet 7 has the most raw materials. Planet 10 has the largest workforce. If you combine your resources instead of fighting over them, you can accomplish things none of you could do alone. Jake could see some of the representatives thinking about this idea, but others still looked skeptical. Why should we help our enemies? Asked the being from Planet 12. They have been trying to destroy us for 100 years. Because your enemies are the only ones who can help you now, Jake replied. In 7 days, your wars won't matter. The only thing that will matter is whether you are alive or dead. He is right, said an elderly creature from Planet 2. I have fought in these wars for 60 years. I have seen my children die in battles over resources we could have shared. If we do not stop now, there will be no one left to remember what we were fighting about. What exactly are you proposing? Asked the representative from Planet 8. Jake looked at his crew, then back at the screen. Complete cooperation. Every shipyard working together. Every planet contributing materials and workers. Every military fleet converted for evacuation instead of war. And who would command this operation? Asked Planet 4's representative. You would? Jake said. All of you working together. We'll help coordinate, but this has to be your operation. You know your people and your resources better than we? This is madness, said the being from Planet 9. We cannot trust each other. You don't have to trust each other, Jake replied. You just have to want to live more than you want to fight. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Jake could see the representatives looking at each other, thinking about what he had said. Finally, the elderly creature from Planet 2 spoke again. I am tired of war. I am tired of death. If there is a chance to save my grandchildren, I will take it, even if it means working with my enemies. As will I, said the representative from Planet 5. One by one, the other representatives agreed. Not because they trusted each other, but because they wanted to survive. Admiral Vextel's face appeared in a corner of the screen. He looked shocked. This is unprecedented. No species has ever achieved such cooperation under pressure. Maybe you never gave them the right motivation, Jake replied. Over the next 6 days, Jake watched something amazing happen. The 12 warring worlds transformed their entire civilization. Factories that had been making weapons started making ship components. Soldiers became construction workers. Enemies became partners in the desperate race against time. The humans helped where they could. Ryan Brooks shared engineering techniques. Lisa Carter helped resolve cultural conflicts. The Beth Williams coordinated communications. Sam Johnson helped plan evacuation routes. But the real work was done by the beings in the dying star system. They worked without sleeping. They shared resources they had fought over for decades. They saved lives instead of taking them. On the 7th day, as the star began its final collapse, the last evacuation ship left the system. 47 million beings had been saved. Not 34%, not even 90%. 100%. Admiral Vextel stared at Jake in silence. For a long time? How? The Admiral finally asked. We didn't try to choose who would live, Jake replied. We chose to find a way for everyone to live. But the limitations, the Admiral protested. The mathematics, the lack of resources, were all based on the assumption that they would keep fighting each other, Jake said. When they stopped fighting and started working together, everything changed. Admiral Vextel looked defeated. You have passed the final test. 3 months had passed since the evacuation of the dying star system. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Liberty, looking out at something he had never expected to see. Hundreds of ships from dozens of different species filled the space around them. They had all come to the same place for the same reason. Captain, Communications Officer Beth Williams said, we're receiving another request for a meeting. This time it's from the Altarian Confederation. How many does that make? Jake asked. 47 different governments have asked to meet with us, Beth replied. And more are coming every day. Dr. Lisa Carter walked onto the bridge carrying a stack of data tablets. Jake, you need to see these reports. The changes happening across the galaxy are incredible. What kind of changes? Remember the 50 star systems we helped during the Crucible test? Lisa said. They've formed a permanent alliance called the Cooperative Council. But that's not all. The 12 worlds from the evacuation have started their own federation. And now other systems are asking to join both groups. Navigator Sam Johnson looked up from his console. Captain, I'm tracking ship movements across this entire sector. Trade between systems has increased by over 300% in the last 3 months. Military conflicts have dropped by 80%. Jake was amazed, all because we helped a few systems work together. It's spreading, Lisa explained. When other species see the benefits of cooperation, they want the same thing for themselves. They're copying the human approach to problem solving. Engineer Ryan Brooks came onto the bridge with his own report. Captain, I've been analyzing the technology sharing between the allied systems. They're making advances faster than anyone thought possible. When different species combine their knowledge, they create things none of them could make alone. Before Jake could respond, Admiral Vexel's face appeared on the main screen. But something was different about the Zephyrian leader. He looked older and more tired than before. Captain Morrison, the Admiral said, I need to speak with you privately. We're listening, Jake replied. My government wishes to make a formal request, Admiral Vexel continued. The Zephyrian Empire would like to join the growing alliance of cooperative systems. Jake was shocked. You want to join the alliance? But you created your empire by conquering other worlds. Yes, the Admiral said quietly. And for 3,000 years we ruled through fear and force. But in 3 months you have shown us a better way. Our own scientists are telling us that the cooperative systems are advancing faster than we are. Our economists say that trade alliances are more profitable than tribute collection. Our military leaders admit that voluntary cooperation creates stronger defenses than forced obedience. What about your emperor? Dr. Lisa Carter asked. Does he agree with this decision? Admiral Vexel looked uncomfortable. Emperor Zethkal has been convinced by the evidence, but there is resistance from some parts of our government. Many Zephyrians find it difficult to accept that we have been wrong for so long. Change is always hard, Jake said gently, but it's possible. We've seen it happen. There is something else, the Admiral continued. The cooperative systems have asked us to make you an offer, Captain Morrison. What kind of offer? They want you to become the first elected leader of the Galactic Cooperative Council. All 62 systems have voted. The result was unanimous. Jake felt dizzy. Leader of the galaxy? That's impossible. I'm just a ship captain. You are the person who showed us that leadership is about serving others, not controlling them, Admiral Vexel said. You proved that the best leaders are those who help others become leaders themselves. Beth Williams looked excited. Captain, this is incredible. You'd be the first human to lead a galactic government. I don't want to lead a galactic government, Jake said firmly. That's not what this is about. Then what is it about? Admiral Vexel asked. Jake thought for a moment. It's about helping people solve problems together. It's about showing that cooperation works better than competition. It's about proving that different species can learn from each other. Exactly, the Admiral said. That is why they want you to lead the council. But I won't be a ruler like your emperor, Jake said. I won't give orders or make demands. The council would have to be truly democratic. Every system would have an equal voice. That is what they are hoping for, Admiral Vexel replied. They want a leader who will listen instead of commanding. They want someone who will help them work together instead of forcing them to obey. Jake looked at his crew. They had been through so much together. What do you think? I think you'd be good at it, Ryan Brooks said. You're already doing it, really. You've been helping systems cooperate for months, and you wouldn't have to. Do it alone? Lisa Carter added. The whole crew could help. We could set up a real diplomatic corps with people from all the different species. The galaxy needs this, Captain, Sam Johnson said. Without someone to help coordinate cooperation, the old ways might come back. Wars might start again. Jake was quiet for a long time. Finally, he looked back at Admiral Vexel. If I accept this position, I have conditions. Name them, the Admiral said. First, the position has a term limit. 5 years, then someone else takes over. Leadership shouldn't be permanent. Agreed. Second, the council makes decisions by consensus, not by majority vote. Every system has to agree before we act. That might make decisions very slow, the Admiral pointed out. Better slow than wrong, Jake replied. If we can't convince everyone that a decision is right, maybe it isn't right. Agreed, the Admiral said after a moment. Third, any system can leave the Council whenever they want. Membership has to be completely voluntary. Even if they're making a mistake? Even then, Jake said firmly. People have the right to make their own choices, even. Bad ones? Anything else? Jake smiled. Yes, we establish a new academy where young people from all species can learn together. Not just technical skills, but how to solve problems cooperatively. How to build bridges between different cultures. How to lead by serving others. Admiral. Vextel nodded slowly. The Council will accept all your conditions. When can you start? Give us a week to get ready, Jake said. And Admiral, yes? Thank you. For challenging us, I mean. If you hadn't tried to teach us a lesson, none of this would have happened. The Admiral almost smiled. I suppose we did teach you a lesson, Captain. Just not the one we intended. After the communication ended, Jake's crew gathered around him. So we're really going to do this? Beth Williams asked. We're going to try, Jake replied. But remember, we're not doing this to control anyone. We're doing it to help people control their own destinies. What about Earth? Sam Johnson asked. What will they think about humans leading a galactic alliance? They'll probably be proud, Lisa Carter said. And maybe a little worried. But they'll understand that we're representing human values, not human interests. What are human values? Ryan Brooks asked. Jake thought about everything that had happened since they first met the Zephyrians. Cooperation over competition. Questions. Over assumptions? Hope over fear? The belief that there's always a better way if you're willing to look for it. Those sound like good values for a galaxy, Beth said. Let's hope so, Jake replied, because we're about to find out. 1 year later, Jake stood in the Great Assembly Hall of the new Galactic Cooperative Council. Representatives from over 100 systems filled the chamber. They came from dozens of species, spoke hundreds of languages, and had thousands of different customs. But they all shared one thing in common. They had chosen cooperation over conflict. The session will now come to order, Jake announced. Around him, beings who had once been enemies worked together to solve problems that affected them all. Admiral Vextel, now serving as the Zephyrian representative, caught Jake's eye and nodded respectfully. The title had changed from Admiral to Ambassador, but more importantly, the attitude had changed from conqueror to partner. In the back of the chamber, Jake could see young beings from many different species working together as interns and assistants. They were the first graduates of the new academy, and they represented the future of the galaxy. Jake smiled as he called the first item of business. They had come so far from that first meeting when the Zephyrians wanted to teach humans about their proper place in the universe. They had learned their place, all right? It was wherever they were needed most, helping others find their own way to a better future. The galaxy had called them master, but Jake knew the truth. The best masters were simply teachers who helped their students become teachers themselves. And, in that sense, every species in the galaxy was both master and student. Teacher and learner, leader and follower. It was, Jake thought, a very human way to run a galaxy.